Hello my dear students of second preparatory stage. أهلا بيكم طلابنا الأعزاء لمرحلة الصف الثاني الإعدادي لمادة اللغة الإنجليزية. زي ما احنا عارفين إن حلقتنا النهاردة تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. First of all, I want to remind you briefly of what we introduced in the last sessions. أو خلوني أفكركم باللي احنا قدمناه في الحصص اللي فاتت أو في الحلقات اللي فاتت. First of all, we introduced in writing how to write a paragraph, how to write an email, how to write a report. Last session we learned that. Also we learned in grammar area, we learned or we talked about the present continuous, past continuous, present simple and past simple, and how to use some confusing verbs like used to. يعني تعلمنا وقدمنا tenses أو أزمنة معينة في الجرامر زي الماضي البسيط، ماضي مستمر، مضارع بسيط، مضارع مستمر. دي كانت الحاجات اللي قدمناها في الجرامر. Also we learned how to read paragraphs or reports. يعني ازاي ان احنا نتعلم نقرا with correct pronunciation او بنطق صح. نقرا ازاي some reports او مقالات او paragraphs فقرات. اوكي. And also we can't forget أو ما ينفعش إن احنا ننسى the life skills we introduced like empathy, like collaboration. يعني المهارات الحياتية اللي احنا أو الvalues أو القيم اللي احنا المفروض تبقى موجودة في شخصيتنا علشان تطور مننا and to be better people in the future. Okay, so that was a brief about everything we introduced in the last sessions, and now we have a very interesting session of today because it talks about random acts of kindness. يعني النهارده حلقتنا هنتكلم فيها عن موضوع مهم قوي و very interesting او شيق جدا، بيتكلم على ازاي ان احنا نقدم او نتصرف بشكل عشوائي علشان to draw a smile on others faces او عشان نخلي اللي قدامنا مبسوط just with little things او بان احنا ازاي نسعد الاخرين باشكال بسيطه جدا. This is what we call random act of kindness او الافعال العشوائيه اللي احنا ممكن نقدمها just out of kindness او عشان نظهر الطيبه او السعاده ونخلي اللي حوالينا مبسوطين و satisfied. Okay, so that was a brief, and now let's have a quick look at our objectives of today. Okay, so let's start our session. Okay, my dear students, so now a quick look at the objectives. First of all, I want you to ready with your books, your highlighters and your pencils to jot down أو عشان نكتب any details أو أي تفاصيل we need to look at while studying أو عشان تفيدنا وقت المذاكرة. Okay? So our unit is unit 5 of today, and it's titled with helping you, helping me. And of course we can conclude أو ممكن نستخلص من الموضوع ده the one thing I mentioned at the beginning, which is how to show kindness, how to show random acts of kindness. يعني زي ما قلنا حلقتنا النهارده هتبقى كلها عن إسعاد الآخرين بحاجات بسيطة جدا. Okay, so let's now have a look at the objectives. Yes, by the end of this session, you will be able to know and understand the following. For the reading, what we will learn of today, we will learn an article, how to read an article about kindness. Kindness يعني الطيبة. A blog about volunteering for charities. Okay, a blog means something I mentioned at the beginning of the sessions. يعني في واحدة من الحلقات بتاعتنا في الأول خالص. A blog means something you do on the internet, on some websites. يعني حاجة بتبقى like posts أنت بتعملها على ويب سايتس معينة للبلوجينج to share. You can share with other people. Okay, this is what I mean by blog. Something I share on media. Okay. Volunteering for charities. Volunteer means to do something without waiting for anything in return. يعني تطوع. Volunteering means تطوع. For charities يعني للجمعيات الخيرية. Okay, so this is for reading. For listening, conversations about jobs in the house, descriptions of photos, and people who make suggestions. For the speaking part, we will discuss also a lot of details about jobs in the house and discussing, of course, the random act of kindness, and of course also making suggestions. For language part or the grammar part, the grammar part عندنا النهارده is focusing on something very important, and it will help you in writing. Okay, it's for the relative pronouns أو ضمائر الوصل, who, which, that, and where. For writing, we will learn how to write a blog post on how to help your community. Community يعني المجتمع. Values, of course, how to share random act of kindness. Okay. So as a beginning or as a warm-up, okay? So here we have some pictures. They are not the same as you have in the books. هما مش زي بالظبط اللي عندكم في الكتب بس هي the same ideas, okay? So I want you to focus on my screen now and try in your mind even to match every act with the suitable picture of it. So just have seconds to look. We have here cooking, looking after my brother, putting away my clothes, taking out the rubbish, tidying up and washing up. Cooking, of course, يعني الطبخ. Looking after my brother يعني look after, it's a phrasal verb معناه to take care of somebody يعني يخلي باله من حاجة okay أو من حد. Putting away my clothes يعني إن أنا بروق الأدراج بتاعتي وبحط اللبس في المكان المناسب ليها. Taking out the rubbish يعني إن أنا بخرج القمامة برا المنزل يعني. Tidying up it means to clean and tidy up your room for example يعني نروق الأوضة. Washing up غسيل الأطباق زي ما انتم شايفين هنا. So here let's match. For cooking it's for example 2 or picture 2. Looking after my brother is for picture 4 and then picture 6. Taking out the rubbish of course it's for picture 5. Tidying up is for picture 1 and the last one is washing up is for picture 3. So that was just a warm-up أو تهيئة before we start our unit of today. For the language part here, complete the sentences with the correct form of have to. Have to and has to. The difference is I use have to with some subjects like plural subjects and of course I. Although I is not a plural subject يعني I pronoun I أو ضمير الأنا أو أنا I is not a plural one ده مش جمع هو singular but it always takes the same correction of the plural subjects يعني دايما بيبقى مع التصريفات بتاعت الأفعال الجمع okay so I say I have they have we have okay you have but for has I use it with he she or it okay so here it's a holiday we space go to school so shall I say we has to or have to or shall I say we don't have to go to school? So let me show you my answer. Here, it's a holiday. So of course we have to use have to, but if the meaning أو لو المعنى للسنتنس مش معناه إن إحنا ما ينفعش نعمل ده أو لا يجب هي have to معناها يجب أن. Don't have to لا يجب أن. Okay? But if I'm talking about I or any plural subject يعني لو I أو أي plural subject أنا بستخدم don't have to. Like here we, I have here we. Let me show you with my pen. Okay, so here I have we. That's why we don't have to go to school because it's holiday. ما ينفعش أقول we have to لأن كده مش هتبقى matching مع المينينج أو مش هتبقى ماشية مع المعنى. Number 2, my brother space get up at 6 o'clock every day to go to school, to go to work. So here my father, is it a singular or plural? يعني هو مفرد ولا جمع؟ Of course, it's singular, مفرد. So I have to think of whether has to or doesn't have to. Okay? If I put don't or doesn't in any sentence, it should be followed by infinitive verb. يعني أي وقت أحط doesn't or don't لازم بعدهم infinitive verb. As we mentioned before in the previous sessions. Okay? So here, let me show you my answer. Of course, he has to get up at 6 o'clock to go to work every day. Again, when you get on the bus, you space buy a ticket. Shall we do this or not? Of course we shall. So I mention you because I have you. I added have to, not has to. For number 4, at the weekends, I, as if I'm using a plural subject أو أكني بتكلم على فعل للجمع. Okay? I space get up early. I can stay in bed until 9 o'clock. So I have to or I don't have to. Of course, if you look at the meaning, you will find I don't have to because it's a weekend already. So here, make questions with have to, then ask and answer. Have to walk school. Okay. As I mentioned in the previous sessions, زي ما أنا فكرتكم قبل كده إن إحنا if we have WH question word يعني لو عندي أي حاجة بادئة ب WH like what, when, where, any WH word it has to be followed if we are talking about present simple tense. لازم بعدهم يبقى عندي helping verb does or do. Okay, so consider have as any other verb. يعني أنا هعتبر have ده زي play زي sleep like any other verb. So whenever we have any verb in the present simple tense, my helping verb should be does or do. Okay, so what if I don't have WH? لو أنا مش عندي question word WH, so how should I start my question? I should start directly with do or does, because this means it needs a yes or no answer. Okay, so here I don't have here WH, so this means I have to put do or does according to the subject. Here it means that, or it shows that I will address you. أكني بخاطب اللي قدامي. That's why when I have you, I should start with do. So do you have to walk to school? Okay, so I add do, then the subject, then have to. It should be in infinitive, يعني في المصدر, الverb في المصدر. Then let's see number 2. What sort of jobs? Sort of jobs يعني kind of jobs, يعني أنهي نوع من الوظائف you have to do at home. Here I have WH question word, but it lacks أو ناقصها إيه؟ Yes, do or does. So I have to add do or does here according to the subject, which is you. Okay, so I have you, that's why I shall add do. What sort of jobs do you have to do at home? Number 3, your best friend have to walk to school. Again, I don't have here WH. So this means, yes, I have to start with do or does. I am talking about your best friend. So I'm talking about a singular one. So this means, yes, I have to start with does, okay? As my example shows. Does your best friend have to? Remember, when I add does or do, I have to add the infinitive form of the verb after the subject, okay? Then, work in pairs and what is happening in each photo. Let's look at every photo and try to describe. Of course, I made a sample for you, but you can change. يعني دي sample أنا عاملاها ليكو, a sentence, but definitely you can change. ممكن تغيروا فيها. Here, as you see, this is a girl and she looks somehow sad. شكلها متضايق شوية. So I made my sentence like the following. The girl is sad because her classmates يعني زملائها في الفصل are making fun of her. Making fun of her يعني بيتريقوا عليها أو بيقولوا عبارات عليها بصورة السخرية. That's why she is sad. Okay? My advice for you, أنا قبل كده نصحتكم إن إحنا we have to get ready with a notebook for the irregular forms of the past simple tenses of the verbs. يعني إن إحنا كنا بنكتب فيها الأفعال الجديدة اللي ليها irregular forms أو اللي ليها أشكال مختلفة تماماً عن ال ED. The same notebook use it for the new expressions. يعني علشان نطور من writing skills عندنا أو من مهاراتنا في الكتابة, we have to know a lot of writing expressions. لازم يبقى عندنا محصلة كلمات أو تعبيرات نعبر بيها كويس. So here you have a new, for example, a new expression. Make fun of somebody. اكتبوها عندكم في النوتبوك as a new expression for writing. You can use it later on. Okay? دي حاجة هتفيدكم في ال practice of English to be better in English. Okay? So, for the second picture, we have here a bag in a street. So I made my sentence like the following. Someone forgot his or her bag in the street. I have here, she seems a mother because there are some kids here. So I wrote my sentence like the following. The mother is annoyed. Annoyed يعني منزعجة because her kids are making noise. بيعملوا ضوضاء. And this girl or this woman seems that the bag is too heavy for her, okay? So the girl can't carry the heavy shopping bag. What should or shouldn't you do? Say in these situations, you find a bag with money in it on the floor of a shop. So here, what shall we say using should or shouldn't? My example for you is like the following. You should ask the shopkeeper to look after it. You remember that it's your friend's birthday today, so what shall we do or what shall we not do? Of course, you should bring him or bring her a gift if there is somebody's birthday. And this is the first random act of kindness I was talking about. يعني احنا عرفنا ان أنا صاحبتي for example عندها عيد ميلاد, so I can show random act of kindness. يعني ممكن أعمل حاجة بسيطة تخليها مبسوطة إن أنا I can give her a little gift. By the way, it's not important to spend a lot of money on the gift. يعني by showing a gift like a flower, something you can make with a paper. You can write, for example, happy birthday on a card and decorate it. دي ممكن تبقى simple gift and it can cheer somebody up. يعني ممكن برضو تفرح حد. دي كلها random acts of kindness. Okay? Then, number 3. You don't understand the lesson, so what shall you do? Of course, I can ask politely. Of course, you should ask politely your teacher to re-explain it. لازم تقول للتيتشر إنها تعيد لك الشرح تاني علشان تخليك فاهم ده. What should or shouldn't? Let's finish this part. There is an important test tomorrow, but your brother wants to play video games. أنت عليك تست وأخوك عايزك تلعب معاه video games. Shall we do this? Of course not. Okay? So I can say you should apologize to him. ممكن نعتذر له and we can play with him later on في وقت تاني, and of course we should study for our lessons. Okay, you feel ill in the class, so what you should do? Of course, you should visit the doctor when you finish the school day. لازم نزور الدكتور. What happened on random act of kindness day? تعالوا نعرف بقى الفكرة أو how did we bring the idea of random act of kindness. فكرة إن إحنا نساعد الآخرين بأشياء بسيطة جدا دي, مين أصلا اللي فكر في الفكرة دي؟ The first ones who thought about it. Let's read this short extract. Random acts of kindness. It's already mentioned in your book, so be ready with this page. In 1982, some friends were in a restaurant in California, USA. كاليفورنيا, ولاية كاليفورنيا في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. Some friends were gathering, كانوا متجمعين. They wanted to make the world better. هم فكروا ازاي ان احنا نخلي العالم او الناس بشكل أفضل أو يتعاملوا مع بعض بشكل أفضل. So what they thought of, one of the friends, she's called Annie Herbert. واحدة منهم wrote down her idea. كتبت فكرة كده. Practice random acts of kindness. هي فكرت في فكرة الراندوم اكت اوف كايندنس او ان احنا نعمل حاجة بشكل عشوائي. هي راندوم معناها عشوائي, اكت معناها الفعل, يعني الفعل العشوائي لإظهار الطيبة او إظهار حاجة كويسة تسعد الآخرين. هي اللي فكرت في الفكرة دي. The first one. A random act of kindness is a kind thing that you do for someone. This is the definition أو ده التعريف. For no reason. يعني احنا when we feel for random act of kindness or when we think of it, احنا مش مستنيين مقابل. We do just this to draw a smile on others' faces. Okay? So here you can do random acts of kindness for people. You know, for example, by buying flowers, as I mentioned, for your mother. You can also be kind to strangers. يعني حتى الناس اللي احنا ما نعرفهاش ممكن ان احنا to be kind to them. Like if we see any poor people in the streets, we can help them. If we see any helpless cat or dog, we can help it, okay, by feeding it. So all of these are random acts of kindness. For example, give your seat to someone on a bus. Now, February 17th is random act of kindness day. يعني ده اليوم المخصص 17 من كل شهر فبراير في كل سنة. ده الوقت المخصص لإظهار ال random act of kindness and helping people without waiting for anything in return. يعني بنساعد الناس من غير ما نكون مستنيين مقابل. ومش بس الناس, حتى الحيوانات اللي هي مش لاقية shelters أو ملاجئ في الشوارع. We can also help them. Okay? So here, all over the world people do kind things for they, not because they have to, but because they want to see a smile. الناس بتعمل ده مش مستنية حاجة في المقابل, just they want to see other people smiling on a person's face. Isn't that a fantastic idea? Of course it is. So here, let's have some questions about the passage we have just read. When you do things to help others and show that you care about them, this means kindness, الطيبة. People you don't know, what do we call them? Yes, strangers. Of course, we choose from the words that were written in bold أو الكلمات اللي كان متقل عليها شوية بالأسود in the passage. Very good means fantastic. And then, happening without a plan, random, عشوائي, حاجة حصلت بشكل عشوائي without planning for. The shape of your mouth that shows that you are happy, of course, when you smile. Okay? Then, the idea from random act of kindness. I want you to remember or to look, go back to the passage and search for this information and determine whether every one is true or false. Of course, the first one is true because that was the first idea brought from America. A group of friends had the idea together, so that was true. You have to have a good reason to do a random act of kindness. No, I don't have to, of course. I can do it without waiting for anything in return. Number 4, we can only do random act of kindness for strangers. بعمل ده for strangers, for الناس الغربة بس. Definitely not. I can do it for family members, friends, strangers, animals even in the streets. And for the last one, on random acts of kindness day, people have to do kind things. لا هما مش مفروض عليهم، هما بيعملوا كده just for seeing people smiling. Okay? So, we have here some phrases like book switch, person who plays where, trainers that or which that or trainers that. trainers مش معناها المدربين، معناها الكوتشي الرياضي. watch that. Okay, here I have to focus on something very important which we call here the relative pronouns. relative pronouns أو ضمائر الوصل أنا بستخدمها instead of repeating the subject again. يعني بدل ما أقول she is my friend, she is kind, so I can say she is my friend who is kind. بدل ما أقول she كذا مرة أنا بعوض عنها بwho. So I use who for people as you see here. Which I use it for objects أو non-living things، يعني الحاجات الغير عاقلة، animals أو أشياء. That أنا بستخدمها instead of who or which، يعني ممكن تعوض عن who أو which. Okay? And where of course I use it for places. So let's have here some expressions or some sentences. The space he used to help me wear his old school books. So here of course the books which the books which I refer to books by which لأن books دي حاجة non-living غير عاقل. It's an object. My aunt Dalia is a space is always very kind to me. دي هنا طبعا because I have Dalia, she's a person. Yes, I use the person who. This is the one I used. Number 3, she bought me the space I wore when I played in the school volleyball team. So of course she bought me the trainers أو الكوتشي. And the last thing, it was the space my father gave me. It was the watch, الساعة. Okay, then the last one, the space I lost my watch was the garden. If I'm talking about places بستخدم معاها where. ولما بستخدم where I don't add in the middle or at the beginning. يعني ما ينفعش أقول this is the place where I was born in. This is completely wrong. Okay, this is the place where I was born. ده المكان اللي فيه اتولدت. لما بحط where ما بحطش in. In what case I shall add in if I have which. يعني ممكن أقول this is the place which I was born in. يعني where equals in which أو which something in. Okay, but definitely you can't use in with where. خلي بالكم من دي, it's a common mistake. Okay, here we have to fill in the gaps using any of these relative pronouns. I saw Ahmed in the park, and then here I mention a place. Yes, I have to add where. Number 2, Mr. Sabri is a teacher or is the teacher space. I have a person, so I have to add who exactly. Number 3, the cafe, it's a place. I meet my friend sells delicious ice cream. Of course, I have to add where. Then, you left the bag space you bought the weekend at my house. So here, which, because bag is an object, so I refer to it by which or that. يعني that تنفع, which تنفع. The boy space was my best friend. Of course, boy, I can, yes, use with it who. Who or that, both are correct. And the last thing, I give the shoes, it's an object, I can use which or that. Are too small for me to my cousin. Then read these extracts from the blogs and tell me about it. Samir helps to clean beaches and pick up rubbish. I want you to read with me now these 3 short extracts, and then we will fill in the gaps using the information here. I work as a volunteer for a charity which helps to clean our local beach. At the weekend, we go to the beach and pick up the rubbish, okay, that people left behind. Then, we always pick up lots of plastic bottles. بيتكلموا عن ازاي ان هم بيلموا القمامة من البيتشز and they put it in the bins أو بيحطوها في السلات المخصصة ليها. Who said this was Samir. It's good to help people in the community. Community يا جماعة كلمة جديدة معناها المجتمع. احنا هنا عندنا volunteer يعني الشخص المتطوع اللي بيتطوع لعمل حاجة without waiting for something in return. Okay? Pick up يعني يلتقط حاجة from the floor for example. Community يعني المجتمع. And here visit a home for old people يعني بنزور ملاجئ أو دار أيتام أو دار للمسنين who are disabled يعني عندهم إعاقة. Okay, so it's difficult for their family to look after them. Look after يعني صعب إن هم يعتنوا بيهم. I go there after school on Thursdays. بنروح بقى الملاجئ دي أو دار المسنين دي عشان نساعد الناس اللي هناك. The volunteers have a special person who we visit and talk to. The woman who I visit is called Mrs. Nahla. She worked as a nurse when she was young and she is a fantastic person. I love talking to her. Who said this? Fatma. Let's move to the last part. I work for a charity which looks after animals that are old or sick. يعني دي جمعية خيرية بتهتم بالحيوانات اللي ملهاش ملاجئ. اوكي وبيعتنوا بيهم بيمرضوهم وبيدوهم الأدوية والطعام اللي هم محتاجينه. People donate money. Donate means يعني بيتبرع بحاجة. اوكي to the charity to buy food for the animals such as horses and camels. We help to feed the animals and look after them. بيعتنوا بالكاملز أو بالجمال وبيعتنوا بصحتهم هناك. This camel is very old and she is my favorite animal. Ahmed said this. So let's fill in the gaps. Fatma visits an old lady who is, yes, fantastic, and of course she loves talking to her. People space money, donate money, بيتبرعوا بالفلوس to the charity and Ahmed helps the animals to look after the animals أو يعتني بيساعد الجمعيات الخيرية إن هو يعتنوا بالحيوانات هناك. Okay, so we have here some life skills we can use or some ways in how to show the random acts of kindness. I brought some for you. يعني أنا حضرت لكم some random acts of kindness إزاي إن إحنا to show kindness by visiting the orphanages and help people in the houses. يعني إن إحنا نزور ملاجئ الأيتام ونجيب هدايا for the orphaned kids أو للأيتام. Picking up the rubbish from streets دي حاجة تانية ممكن أظهرها as random act of kindness إن أنا بعمل حاجة مش مفروضة عليا بس حاجة هتساعد الآخرين. Decorating the streets during special events such as feasts إن إحنا ممكن نزين الشوارع في الأعياد دي حاجة it can help others be happy. Okay. Helping stray dogs. Stray dogs يعني الدوجز أو الكاتس اللي هم في الشوارع اللي ملهمش shelters. Okay. By keeping them in shelters الملاجئ المخصصة ليهم and taking good care of them. So these were some acts of kindness I showed you and I want you to start doing random acts of kindness. Okay. This is very important. At least one day you can do it. Okay. So by this slide we ended our session of today. I really enjoyed this session and I want you to wait for the other ones. The other session will be also interesting. So see you soon and stay safe please. Bye.